Alright, I'm gonna be doing another build video since I just finished my new Garuda Prime build. I felt like I would show off my new Nova Prime build, which since she got a pretty substantial buff with a rework. It inspired me to show off this build, which I actually had way before she got buffed. But now that she's been buffed, this build works ever so slightly better. Mostly because her null style is significantly better now, so her survivability is much less of a question than it was before. But yeah, this is ability I named WARUDO, because it basically makes enemies freeze. So of course I had to give it the classic anime, or classic JoJo if you want to be exact name. Yeah, this one is because the slow from Gloom and also molecular prime stack, and then once they both stack, the enemies go extremely slow. That's also why this build, unlike most Nova builds, has very high range because it has Gloom on it, which does unfortunately kind of counteract the North Star. But that's also why this is a much more of like a meme build rather than an actual build you'd be taking into difficult content. If you're doing difficult content, you'd just be doing this build, which I guess I'll show off towards the end. But yeah, this one just has. I mean, of course, you want max really high duration for molecular prime. Then duration does also help with the energy drain of this. Yeah, because even though efficiency is only at 45%, Gloom is still only takes 60% of its usual energy, which is a big problem with her energy drain. Excuse me. And of course I have adaptation on here for just even more survivability, but you could just put whatever else you want there if you feel like that's not an issue. And then I also have going power on top of course more augmented to get as much power strength as possible to make the enemy slow even more noticeable, because the slow from Gloom maxes out at 90% actually, which paired with the 75% from this is very funny. But yeah, then as far as the other arcane goes, I put mold efficiency here because I don't really know what else I could put here that would make her better. I mean, I could put Aegis here to give her more survivability, but this is a meme build that doesn't really care about that, so this build is just focused on maximizing basically everything about it. Yeah, because as long as my shields are active, they don't need to be full, just active, I get an extra 36% duration pretty much at all times. And then, yeah, I'll show the build now. Oh, actually, before I forget, yeah, I also have 4 duration shards. This one would of course be Tower Forge, but I do actually have a another red Archon shard, so I couldn't make this Tower Forge, but I forgot to do that before this. And then the main one that makes this build work is the Equilibrium shard on her, because this is how she's gonna like be able to actually sustain her energy economy, because which works very well with her new passive, because when enemies are slowed down, they have a 15% chance to drop health orbs, which effectively just turn straight into energy orbs. And of course, I'm also running Generic on her to guarantee that she has no energy problems. And then Sentinel is again pretty much the same Sentinel I have for all Warframes. It's just a Sentinel exists to keep the Warframe, or just make the Warframe even harder to kill by having Guardian Shield Charger primed regen, and then why not have that one on? I thought I guess, yeah. Well, I would have Sacrifice on here too, but I I guess this is yeah, this build is, actually no, look at this build is more focused on actually doing damage. I don't look at my builds very often, in case you couldn't tell. Actually, a sacrifice would be better over shield charge, but I can't afford it. But yeah, otherwise, this, if you just put sacrifice here and then this frame, then, well, you pretty much never have to worry about, like, really dying. Because anytime you do go down, your Sentinel will just revive you, and since this Sentinel doesn't have any attack precepts on it, it will never attack enemies, and therefore the enemies will basically never attack it, because it won't be drawing aggro. And then weapons don't matter except for the Naduruk, which has another funny meme thing I'll be showing off later. And yeah, I mean, the Praetos I just have equipped, which I don't even have the fucking Praetos, like, any of these things unlocked, but if it did, I would have it exclusively for the sprint and slide speed there, and then also the, yeah, 30% parkour velocity. But since I'm too lazy to actually ever do the thing for this, it's just here. I think there was one other thing I forgot, but I can't remember. Yeah, you can see I can grab energy from health. Oh yeah, I was messing with the portals, so let me just get those out of the way. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I also, subsumed Gloom over her antimatter drop, but that was before antimatter drop was buffed to be actually good, but I think I'd still keep this subsumed over this because I personally really like using her wormholes just because I find it very fun to be able to just teleport around and whatnot, and I mean, normally you'd be using the turret or some other weapon that could just kill every enemy in the game without issue, so using antimatter drop wouldn't even really be that big of a deal because you'd just be killing everything regardless of whether or not you use antimatter drop. Okay, now I'll show the build off. As you can see, my survivability is pretty good. And then I press 4, and then, as you can see, the enemies basically just come to a complete stop. Especially once they start animations. Because then they have to stand up at like fucking like 1/10 regular speed. And unfortunately, slowing them down does not slow down the rotational speed. If it did, this would actually be kind of like this would be like an unironically like good build in most missions. But since it doesn't slow the rotational speed down, they can still turn and shoot easily. Now this is just with the without having the Mort Augmented, yes, what that Mort's Arcane's called. This is without having Mort Augmented have like any kills at all, so actually going to pause the recording here and get Mort Augmented up to full 250 stacks, so I can see, so you can see just how funny it is when enemies basically stop in place. Alright, I now have 4 Mort Augmented charges. So yeah, so Gloom is now at a 69% slow. But I think I have 199 power strength exactly. And of course Molecular Prime's maxed out at 75% now. This also has a nice upside of buffing Null Stell's damage reduction even further, so you have to recast it slightly less. And then, since I also have Growing Power, get that active, although I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, because it's 78% slow with Growing Power active, but I don't remember it. Remember if Gloom snapshots power strength, since it's like it's a pseudo-active channeled ability. But anyways, yeah, this is what max Mort Augmented charges looks like. As you can see, the moment they start doing the ground pound, they literally basically just freeze. Fortunately, they still knock you down, but yeah, as you can see, they basically just freeze in place. Unfortunately, this obviously does nothing at all against XMS units, so they don't get slowed down even a little bit. So which makes this build significantly worse in most general use scenarios. But if you're doing just like level 100, like regular path, or even level 100 steel path, this is still more than enough to keep you alive in most cases. Especially since you're obviously going to be like, actually killing enemies most of the time. So yeah, as you can see, I've already made 75 energy. Yeah, I made about 75 energy just from killing all of those guys, thanks to the equilibrium shard. Yeah, well, that's everything for the meme build. If I remember correctly, it is. Yeah. I mean, you could, if you really wanted to... Oops. If you really wanted to, you could, like, drop... probably, I don't know which mod. Yeah, but like stretch or algo message or something and throw like Umbo Intensify in for even more power strength to make the enemies go even slower. But this would build, but other than that, it's pretty much this meme build. But I can also show you the actual build as well, which has Eclipse modded over top of her antimatter drop as usual. Which is actually kind of necessary for this one, so that way you can actually do the other meme thing with the wormholes, with her now that wormholes last forever. But yeah, this one's of course as high duration as absolutely possible. So her Mercury Prime has a range of 117 meters. Oh yeah, this is also worth noting. If you're doing the speed, if you're doing speedbow with this one, it obviously doesn't really work very well with this build since Gloom counteracts the speed, and they pretty much end up like going at normal speed, but they just take double damage. So if for some reason you want that, then this build's good for that. But otherwise, this build is by far the best general use one, because you get 45 fucking charges of North Star, which actually after multi-efficiency this gets to 400% power strength, so this gets like close to like 50 or something. You actually should already be active. Wait for it to charge up. Yeah, you get 49 North Stars, and every single one of these has 7% damage reduction, which will obviously go higher as you get more kills. And they also only have a range of 3.4 meters, so you very, very rarely have to even recast this. And of course, the Eclipse maxes out at 75%, or rather, it doesn't get modified at all. And then your 145% power strength, which is basically enough to get this to the max of 75% slower speed. Just get like 20 kills, then this is maxed. But yeah, I threw Nao's Hatred in here for even more ability duration, of course. And of course, I also have Adaptation on you, so I have 90% DO plus 90% DO plus 75% DO, making her basically unkillable, like, at all. So, I guess, so before I show the meme part of this off, I'll just show just how survivable she is. Actually, let me get energy. Let me even speed these guys up. As you can see, like, when they're sped up they can kill me, but they barely. Oh, so yeah, see, if I just stand back here, my North Star charges don't even go down. even on my health, and then if I just press 4, of course I can slow them down, but since I have brief respite on, I also get shield back. If you really want to, then you can switch Eclipse over to the damage mode. So you can get double damage from her 4, then you can get another, like, I think it was like 45% damage bonus from her 2. Alright, but now I'll show the meme build, which is why I have the Naduruk equipped. As far as I could tell, this is something I don't quite know about it, this one really only works if you have a build with very low range. Because otherwise, when you throw a portal down, it'll just hit its max range at a wall, which won't work for what we're doing here. So here, I'll do one right like this. To position them like this, and then have any weapon that has infinite projectile lifetime and enemy penetration to be exact. It's also more fun if you're like me and you have really bright energy colors on your Naduruk. Oh yeah, if you have epilepsy, definitely do not look at this. Then again, this is Warframe. I don't think it's even possible to play Warframe with epilepsy to begin with, so, you know. Yeah, then you can do very fun stuff like this. You can make your own personal particle accelerator. I don't know what the limit to these is, because I haven't really shot many more besides this, so I guess I'll, like, figure that out. I imagine there's probably some, like, pseudo-limit to the number of projectiles before the game just starts despawning them. But I haven't seen any disappear from the other portal yet, so maybe not. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it's adding anymore, but yeah, as you can see, this is very awful to look at. But this will stay pretty much until someone uses all 4 of the charges on the portals. Alright, I need to turn the AI on. Oh wait, it is on. Yeah. As you can see, it basically just creates a wall of death that kills enemies if that walk into it. Build it now. If you're on defensive build, doing this can actually be rather practical. But obviously, if you're making like exterminate or something, you're doing this isn't going to have any real effect on literally anything at all, because enemies are never going to be like running towards you enough for you to set something like this up. As you can see, the projectiles do eventually seem to go away. I'm not sure if maybe they do actually have a limit to how many times they can penetrate, or if it's like some kind of lifespan issue, or if they just like spontaneously despawn. Oh yeah, so I think enemies can also go through portals, which is why this one's lost charges. Yep, yeah, I just teleported them. Yeah, so enemies can exhaust their charges sometimes if you're doing this, but... But yeah, that's another meme build you can do. Especially fun when you have the bright energy colors like this, although your teammates will probably not be a big fan of this if you're doing this on like Hydron or some other basic ass defense mission. Especially, actually, you know, I'll tell you what. I'll take this a step further and just see. What are these? See, this one's... Wait, this one's actually like the same. You take this a step further and just make this the... So you only need the energy one to be white, I think, or... I don't remember. Yeah, you can just make it piercing white. Yeah, you want to make sure the other portals are ahead of this because... Because when you shoot a projectile into it, it comes out of it. Oh right, I forgot you, actually, yeah, I forgot you could do it like this. Yeah, so... Technically you only need one portal for it. Still, I think you need the minimal range one. Not necessarily minimal, but short enough range that I won't get into a wall like this. It's... Oh no, it does work, okay. So I was... Actually, you can actually do this on any range, so yeah. Even better, because that means you can then do this. Sometimes I think you have to... Yeah, you have to... Since the projectile comes out, like, what it's so far, if I shoot through this one here, and I'm looking like right there, the projectile will go in that direction, so you want to be facing like directly towards it. Yeah, again, if you have any sort of photosensitivity, definitely look away. This is going to be the most awful thing I've ever created in my entire life. Holy shit, this is so much worse than I thought it would be. Oh my god. Yeah, honest to god, the DE might someone reports you for this, DE might actually like fucking ban you. That is until DE is probably going to patch this out because this does kind of encourage... because you can kind of do some level of AFK farming with this. Thing as you can just do this and then on like a survival mission and just go take a shit and then come back. Ain't that a beaut? Alright, so let's spawn enemies and watch them immediately die. These guys are threading the needle. Oh god, okay, that's really stunning. My eyes are really starting to not like that. Alright, well, actually, now that I've actually figured out how that works, let me go back and test this on the meme build. Actually, while I'm doing this, I'll actually test another thing. I wanna see how fast enemies go. Yeah, so the still with gloom on the speed mode is still slightly slower than normal, it looks like. Anyways. Yeah, so I should in theory be able to do this. Okay, yeah, it does work. Okay, yeah, so you can actually do this on builds, even builds like this that have portals with like 300 meters of range. It's more like 125 or something, was it? Yeah, 125 meters. Is there any real practical reason to do this? Well, if you're on like if you're on like Kuva, like Steel Path Kuva Exterminate, or Kuva Survival, I mean, then if you get a lucky hallway spawn, you can actually kind of just create a laser beam. Actually, now that I think about it, I tell you what, I'm gonna make a separate video doing that, I think, after this. Well, that's everything I had planned. Well, that's everything I had planned for this video, plus like an extra like 15 minutes of bonus content I didn't have planned until I found this out at the end. But yeah, this is my Nova Prime builds that I'm using. Actually, as I did, I guess I'll show off the fashion again, like I did with my Garuda, and I got the Atomica helmet with the Mithra skin, because I thought about getting this one, but honestly, I do like the new deluxe skin, but I find it to be I think the Mythos skin just looks better. And I do have the Atomica one, of course, but I find this Tenno Gen 1 to just flat out be better than this one. Besides, it's not like she's lacking for fucking skins anyways. Yeah, and as usual, I don't got any chest ones equipped. Yeah, which ones? Yeah, I guess I'll never equipped the upgraded versions of these. And of course, and on the legs, I actually found the Kukui ones, which are the Garuda Prime bundle set thing. I don't remember the name of. The Prime accessories, yeah, that's it. Of course, I got the Foxtails one because I just really like this ephemera. But this one's also pretty good. But yeah, then of course, actually on her, I think this one, yeah, I didn't have this last time I looked at her. I think I like this one more. Hover like that. And sigils, of course, I literally always had the snake sigil because it's like the only sigil that looks cool at all. And on the back one, I didn't bother putting one because you can't fucking see her back like at all. Yeah, the static reactor is like the only other one that has any other coolness to it. Of course, as always, I got the Vasero Sekaharas. And Sindana, I actually do have a Sindana for her. Though again, it's 90% of it's obscured by her fucking tails anyways. Yeah, I think that's everything for her visuals. Yep, alright, I'll end this video here.